Hey guys, it's Kelly here from Spiritual Awakening Signs, coming to you today with a very special masterclass, how to find soul stability and inner peace despite change and uncertainty. So even if it's chaotic times, even if things are going crazy, which they are right now in the world around us, and it's a bit unsettling, we're going to help you to find that inner peace and soul stability so that you can hold on to that no matter what. It's not just spiritual skills, these are lifelong tools, what we're sharing in this masterclass, and it will help you to really find that enlightened aspect of yourself to hold on to when things get a little bit bumpy. Okay, so in the video we're going to cover a few different things. The first thing is the spiritual update. I always bring through the spiritual update from my guides who give us this information and kind of highlight what's going on energetically over the planet. And it's all about the planetary shift that we've all been waiting for. It's really, really incredible, an exciting time and exciting news, but there's more information that you're going to need to prepare yourself to move forward into that. We're going to talk about how I maintain inner peace, even in chaotic times of change. We're also going to cover 7 lifelong benefits of inner peace and finding that soul stability within. We're going to cover 3 myths about the paradigm shift that rob you of your inner peace. Very important to move past those. And 3 steps to inner peace using our system and unwavering soul stability no matter what. So moving into that energy where the enlightened gurus managed to get, really harnessing that place of stillness within so that everything can go on round about you, but you can still access that. Everything's okay. It's a really valuable skill and a very important part of your awakening journey. So let's get right into it. Don't miss any of this information, and of course take notes. A lot of this is really valuable. It'll support you as you move forward. But let's get into it. So the news, the spiritual update. Well, something is happening right now. The Earth's energies are ascending. Earth is transforming. Gaia is awakening in a really big way. And it is the planetary shift that we've all been waiting for. So people have been talking about this for a long, long time, particularly in spiritual communities. We've been waiting for what's called the shift, the consciousness shift, the great shift, Gaia's next cycle of incarnation, whatever you want to call it. We've been waiting for it for a really long time. And the question I guess that brings up for a lot of us is, well, what does that really mean? How is that really going to change my life? How is it going to impact me? Well, to make it really easy to understand, the Earth's energies are transforming. Things are definitely changing. Basically, we are leveling up. So you need to think about the Earth, first of all, is leveling up energetically. It's moving into higher resonance, a higher frequency, closer to high vibrational white light. So the closer you get to that, the higher frequency you're resonating at. And of course, as Earth does that, we get taken with it. If we know how to align with it properly, we're going to get taken with that. So what that really means is it's going to affect our personal lives, and it's also going to affect the external world around us, as we're moving out of the darkness, the drudge, the difficulty of the 3D energies. So 3D energies are things like conflict, drama, problems, stress, disharmony, all the kind of difficult things that are really difficult to move through. Those are the 3D energies. Well, we're starting to move away from that and into a higher resonance where we're really more in alignment with our true selves, with our higher selves. We've got clear communication. We're in alignment with our spiritual gifts and abilities and able to use them. We are aligned with our spiritual purpose. We're connected to source. And of course, we're resonating in a place that's more centered, more compassionate, more understanding, and more in alignment with the awakening energy. So ultimately, a wonderful thing. Ultimately, an unprecedented time throughout history. We don't even know if anything like this has really ever happened before. So the fact that you're incarnated here right now is really special. Don't waste it. This is absolutely unprecedented. So we can absolutely transform using the Earth's energies, because as Earth's energies are starting to lift, we can kind of ride the wave and go along with it and get an upgrade ourselves. We can resonate in a higher level, which is really exciting. But I have to also be real with you, because it's going to highlight some challenges for a while. It's going to be a little bit rough for a while, because things are going to be unsteady. things are going to be uncertain and probably a little bit unstable. Because much like awakening calls for us to lift the darkness out of ourselves, lift all the upsetting emotions, everything that we've hidden, all the illusions, we kind of pack it all down, and then awakening starts and it all just comes right up to the surface. It's really messy, and we're looking at things like, oh my God, how am I going to put my life back together? I have no clue what to do. And somehow we get through it and we heal. And then it doesn't seem to be such a big mess. It's like things start to realign in an order that is more beneficial for us and more true to who we really are on the soul level. And that's what's going to be happening in the world around us as well. And you see it happening already. There's a lot of things rising to the surface. There's a lot of changes happening. There's a lot of upset. And that is going to happen as a lot of the old outdated things kind of crumble and change. And things are realigned into a lot of healthier patterns, a lot of things that are more win-win for people, and just better energies. Things are going to be running a lot more smoothly. So ultimately a really exciting thing. But it is going to be bumpy for a while, which means you're going to need to know how to access that inner stillness within. You're going to need to be able to hold on to that inner peace, even as things are changing around about you, so that you can just be like, everything's okay. You have to be able to kind of escape to that place a little bit, so that you can tolerate what's going on around about without freaking out, without panicking, without becoming depressed or overly stressed or overwhelmed. You need to be able to handle the changes that are coming. And that's why this is so important. It's not all doom and gloom. It's ultimately a really positive thing, but it's going to be a little bit wobbly for a while as these changes happen. And things are already changing in our lives and things around about us. So we need to know how to kind of steady ourselves. That soul stability is what we're really talking about. And I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you, because it's a very valuable skill. Okay, so like I said, we need an anchor to be able to steady ourselves as these energetic shifts take place. So those energies are going to be moving. Now, you might find that things get a little bumpy in life. You might find that they don't. But what I can tell you either way is that the energies are going to be changing, and that is rough on your energy body. It's rough on the soul, because the soul is like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know how to adjust to this. It's like putting yourself into a completely new environment. There's a period of adjustment. There's a period of, oh gosh, I feel really uncomfortable. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't really relax. Well, that's what your energies are doing right now. We need to put them in right order and kind of reassure them, show them how to work with this new energy, so that you can get the benefits of it, so that you can transform with Gaia in her shift rather than struggle against it. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. Okay, so let's get into the next section. So how I maintain inner peace even in chaotic times of change. That's what we're going to cover. Now, the thing is, like I said before, there's never been a more appropriate time for us to find our stability within. Everything in the world is really changing round about us just now, and it's changing at an alarming rate. And if we're really honest with ourselves, that can be really difficult. It can be really overwhelming, and it can be really stressful. It can cause quite a lot of anxiety. Sometimes we're not really in touch with how panicked maybe that we are, because we're just trying to get on with it. But it's all under there, and it's causing stress on the body, and it's draining the energy of the soul. It's depleting us, and some of us are starting to feel that already. But the challenge is that, ironically, inner peace is really most difficult to actually access when you need it the most. So the moment when you're like, I'm freaking out, I can't calm down, I'm feeling super stressed, I don't know what to do, that's the moment when you're furthest away from inner peace. It's really hard to kind of clamber your way back to it and try and find a way to settle. It's almost impossible. And the thing is, I wasn't always able to find my spiritual centre. That wasn't something that I felt capable of actually at all. And I used to be so unbelievably sensitive to change that just the possibility of it could leave me reeling. I would be anxious, I would be uncertain what I was going to do, how I was going to cope. And I'd spend hours or sometimes days fretting about the instability of change. What am I going to do? How am I going to adapt to this? I don't like it that way, I don't know what to do. And it was just like really, what would be the right word? Being in bits is probably the best way to say it, feeling like you've just completely discombobulated and you can't quite get it together to find that I'm centered, I'm secure, I'm going to be okay. And life and all the changes of life just, to be honest, really felt like too much for me. I've always been a sensitive soul, and I'm sure you guys will be too if you're going through the awakening experience. And sadly, that continued for a really long time. It just became like a stuck pattern, and it was who I was and how I behaved all the time, just freaking out and panicking and getting stressed, and even at one point having anxiety and panic attacks, really unable to kind of self-soothe, really unable to calm myself down, or to feel like I was resilient enough to get through anything. And that's really what it's born of. It's that concept of I can't handle this, that's why I'm panicking, I don't know what to do. And unfortunately, despite the fact that I was going through awakening, despite the fact that I was a very spiritually natured person, peace just completely eluded me, and it didn't really make any sense to me. It didn't make sense that I was, so spiritual and practicing all these different spiritual things, but inside it was just turbulence all the time. It didn't make any sense to me why I should be that way if I'm trying to align myself with all these spiritual things. And I tried everything, that everybody would try. I tried calming music, I tried walking in nature, I tried deep breathing, essential oils, different types of therapies. I tried different tinctures and alternative therapies and things, and nothing worked. Nothing really. It was a band-aid. It would work for a few hours or a day, and I'd wake up the next day and I'd be like, oh no, I would get stressed. And it was very difficult when things were changing around me to feel like things were going to be okay, because it's so uncertain, you just don't know. And even though I tried to focus on calm thoughts, and you're always trying to create an energy of bringing peace to earth, you want peace. I tried to focus on all that, and I would pray that life would get easier and it wouldn't be so difficult or so overwhelming all the time. And I just felt like the planet was too harsh for me. I know a lot of people resonate with that. We've spoke about it in our group. It just felt like I didn't fit in at all. It was just too much. And I really felt like if only there was a way to make the external world a bit more hospitable, if only I could be a bit more gentle, I would fit in, and I would be okay if it was more harmonious. And then I suddenly realised, and I actually laughed out loud when I realised this, awakening isn't about changing the external world to your will. It's about accepting what actually is, and being able to tap into your inner peace anyway. Even though things are a bit crazy, you can still find that part within yourself. It's about having such stillness within that no matter what is changing or fluctuating or happening around about you, you can hold on to that stability and calmness until the storm passes. That's what awakening can bring. Doesn't mean it's always easy, and it doesn't mean that things won't occasionally knock you off course a little bit, but if you have that, you know that even when times are tough, you can access a bit of it. You can get some peace and some relief, and you can kind of hold on. And the more that you do that, the more that you recognise that you're the stable thing in the centre, and everything else is just moving round about you. And there's a shift within when that happens. It's a big aspect of awakening to accept that realisation. You need to realise that your power is within, it's not without. It's an internal thing. Your only real control is of yourself. That's all you really have. And once that really sunk in for me, I did start looking at the world differently. Instead of letting all these external events cause all sorts of turbulence within, I decided to find my inner peace, and I would focus on that, and I would focus on radiating it outwards. That was my next thing. I wanted to send it out into the world round about me to try and uplift everything else. So, it was just about feeling like, right, I've found my centre, right, what can I do to extend that out to others that might be struggling, or send that out into energies that are misaligned, or anything that's having a problem. You can send and radiate that energy out. It's a good feeling to feel that you can contribute in some way. And like I say, it didn't make life perfect. It didn't take away all of my problems, because problems still happen. We're here on earth, they're going to keep happening, the little challenges, but it did definitely change the way that I personally felt about them. It was like kind of don't sweat the small stuff. It was like, okay, this is happening, right, well, things will be okay, or that's a bit annoying, but okay, I'll move through it. There was a kind of bounce back ability that hadn't been there before, and it really did change things for me. And of course, it brings with it many benefits. We're going to get into those. So we're going to cover 7 lifelong benefits of inner peace and soul stability. And I say lifelong because they really are skills that once you have aligned with that, once you have accessed that within yourself, it's kind of like riding a bike. You always know the way to go back to it. No matter how long you're away from it, you can always get back to it. So it is a lifelong skill that you can have that will support you throughout your life no matter what's going on. And there's always changes in life, of course. So let's talk about some of the lifelong benefits. So the first one is feeling calmer and more centered within. That's one that we all need, particularly right now. We need to be able to access that calm stillness within. It's very important. The next is less unnecessary worrying and anxiety. And if you think of all the energy I was putting into worry and anxiety that I could have been putting into other more positive things, and of course the more energy you spend doing all that stuff, it takes energy away from your psychic senses, it takes energy away from functions within your system and your energies that could be doing other things as well. Very important. Your intuition can really be boosted massively when you've done a lot of healing and you calm that. You'll be better able to listen to and be guided by your higher self in difficult times. Now this is what I was talking about when I said that peace is the most difficult thing to access when you need it the most. You want to be able to tune into yourself to access your higher self, particularly when times are tough and you don't know what to do. And the more stressed you get, the further away you are from that. You need to be able to realign and do that, and we're going to need that for the changes that are ongoing right now. You'll have an ability to flow with life's changes gracefully. And I use the term gracefully because that's important too. Life will always change and we'll probably always struggle against it a little bit. But what you'll find is when you access that energy, you kind of just flow with the things that are changing. And it becomes a much more graceful experience rather than, bashing into this one and then bashing into the next obstacle and this thing's happening. It's like, everything calms down. It's okay, we're just floating along, we're just moving with the changes and we can accept them and maybe even use them in a positive way if that's appropriate in our lives. Of course, less stress held within the mind and body, and that's important because the more stress you get, the more you're going to find it depletes not just the soul but the physical body and your mental state as well. And you can't hold on to inner peace when this is all kind of misaligned and when your body's in a state of stress, because then you're going to move into ill health or just putting a drain on your body that shouldn't be there. You're also going to find that you access moments of contentment, gratitude and joy even when times are tough, and I think that is so vital to be able to come through tough times and still be able to find glimmers of moments within it where maybe you can laugh, where you think, I'm really appreciative that I have this or this person in my life, where you can access joy. You can still find moments of enjoyment when you're moving through challenging things, and we need that. And of course, it'll help you to stay true to who you really are without impulsive emotional reactions guiding your actions. That's what we're trying to move away from in awakening. It's about not becoming stoic, but acknowledging our emotions and then making conscious decisions with our awareness rather than just letting everything spill out and it's just, you've lost it at this person and then you were, rude to that person and then you got passive and then you hid for ages. It's like, let's just calm all the drama down. When you tune into your inner peace and your soul stability, you'll find that you're able to kind of ponder things a little bit more and you're not in that space where you're just reacting. You're kind of a little bit more considered, and everything is a kind of, okay, how am I going to deal with this appropriately, but in a way that is peaceful and considerate for myself and the other person on whatever's going on. So really it's about moulding you and well, actually it's more about realigning you with who you really are. Realigning with who you are, because that's who you are, that peaceful centered state that is living from a place of compassion and a place of awareness, rather than, this is happening, oh no, what's going to happen, oh, I'm afraid for the future, oh, look at my past. It's like, okay, let's just center it. It makes a huge difference to embodying your higher self, I can tell you that. Okay, so let's get into the paradigm shift mistakes that rob you of your inner equilibrium. And I just want to say, if you guys have any questions when you're watching the masterclass, for a time you'll be able to see beside the masterclass there's a way to submit your questions. and we'll answer those in a video shortly. So check that out. If you have any questions, just send them along. So, paradigm shift mistakes that rob you of your inner equilibrium. Well, mistake number 1 is blocking out darkness and negativity. And this is important to bring up because we do have a tendency to do that. As light workers and spiritual people, we've been taught to cut off negativity, cut off toxicity. Toxic people, cut them out, move away. Everything's about, don't acknowledge the darkness, just focus on the light. And I used to think the same way, absolutely, because spirituality has kind of led us in that direction, but I think it's a little bit of a misconception, because if we block out the darkness, if we block out the negativity, it robs us of the opportunity to be able to do anything about it. It robs us of the chance of really seeing with clear eyes and a clear perception what's really going on. And if we don't know what's really going on, we can't step into our power, we can't take action. So that's really step 1 of really proper enlightenment, is being able to acknowledge and see everything that's going on. You don't need to block anything out, you don't need to deny anything. It's just like, okay, this is the way it is, and I see everything for what it is. Now what's the best option? Now what's the best decision? And the thing is, awakening anyway really requires truth in all its forms to illuminate everything round about us. So it's about rebuilding the foundations that weren't supporting us to things that cannot be shaken. So foundations that cannot be shaken. And there are a lot of upsetting changes going on in our lives right now, but our ability to adapt relies massively on our willingness to look with open eyes, to be willing to look. And it doesn't mean that you're not afraid. It just means that you're acknowledging what's there, because I do see this, we tend to all do it. It's like, that's negative, that person's negative, they're saying something negative, shut it all down. Well, that's not clear communication. So it's about still having balance in that area, but you need to be able to accept some of the darkness or the negativity that comes into your sphere so that you can make good conscious decisions with your clear awakened perception. Very important. Mistake number 2 that is robbing you of your inner equilibrium is huge: denying your feelings and emotions. And this is something we don't realise that we do, and I can tell you that firsthand. This was a big lesson for me, and I thought I was so in tune with my emotions, being an emotional therapist and doing all this intuitive work, but it is a natural coping mechanism during times of great stress for us to completely shut our emotions down. We shut them down, we shut them off, and we mute the feelings massively. We make it completely numb. And like I said, most of us do this entirely unconsciously. So we can ask each other, even those things are really crazy and quite stressful at the moment, we can ask each other, how are you doing? Oh yeah, I'm fine. And we think we're fine. But if we actually delve down a little bit deeper, we would find that there's upset under there. We're upset that the world has changed. We're afraid for our friends and family. We are uncertain on what's going to happen. We're afraid for the future. It feels really unfair. We're angry. All this stuff is happening under the surface, but we're so used to being disconnected that it's just like, no, I'm fine, I don't feel anything, when really it is under there. So it's a bit of a skill to learn how to acknowledge that, but really you're looking for anything that, any moment where you react where it's like, most people would probably have an emotional reaction about that, and I just feel kind of blank, or I feel like, nah. And you might think you really don't feel anything, but it's under there, right? So like I said, a lot of us, we're so skilled at blocking out that stuff. We think that we're fine, but we're really holding on to that energy right now with a just get on with it attitude. And that can be for any aspect of life, but it's definitely happening right now. And sometimes it's a bit like a band-aid that we place over our emotions because we'd rather not feel or acknowledge them because they're too upsetting, and we're sensitive souls, and sometimes it's just a little bit too much to bear. But that kind of illusion, it disconnects us from our authentic selves massively. It completely disconnects us, and it also leaves us powerless. Again, if you cut yourself off from that, you leave yourself unable to take action. So what you need to do is you need to feel your emotions, really important. You need to cry if you need to. You don't need to do it in front of people. You don't need to, declare it to the world. But you need to allow yourself to have that moment where you can express this if you need to. And you'll find that when you do that, a lot of the turbulence in your life will start to dissolve. It's all that negative emotion quite often is when it's held down, it looks for a way out, and you tend to find bizarrely that energy manifests in other areas of your life. So then all of a sudden, there's lots of conflict round about you, or you're clashing with other people, or things are going wrong, or you've got a flat tire, or you get unwell. It finds another way out of the body. So do your best to express that emotion without letting it cause trouble as an excuse to be freed, because that can happen. And we'll cover a little bit more on these concepts in just a moment. But mistake number 3 is not embracing the inevitable changes or aligning with them either. So the energetic paradigm shift is here. It's absolutely here. It's not going anywhere. It's here and it's happening. And it will energetically move into a higher vibrational state with or without our cooperation. So it's up to us whether we want to align with it. And the change can be scary. Of course it's scary for things to change, but if we face it, we realise that it will allow us to release the old, outdated and unsupportive ways of doing things, and it's going to usher in this high vibrational white light that will ultimately strengthen the foundations that we have, the foundations in our lives to incorporate a greater spiritual connection, to give us authentic embodiment of our higher selves, to help us actively utilise our spiritual gifts and abilities, and even align with our life purpose. There's tons of huge benefits of really choosing to align with this energy actively. So please avoid those 3 mistakes, because if you don't, you're going to find that the changes probably over the next few years are going to be really difficult to manage, and also it means that you're going to struggle with any changes in your personal life too. You have to be able to master this internal equilibrium. It's really, really important. But if you use the Earth's current truth serum energy, as I would call it, you can use it to transform. So it's going to really highlight everything that you need to know, everything that you need to face. And it's not always a really intense experience. It can just be like, I hadn't thought of that way before. Suddenly getting a new insight into something that you hadn't seen. It's really powerful, wonderful energy. And it's going to help untangle you from things that are holding you back. So it's really going to help you to move into your awakening progress in a joyful forward motion. It's stepping forward in the awakening pathway. You don't need to struggle against the changes. You can use them to step more fully into your power and use those transformational energies as the earth is changing too. You can definitely harness that. So let's talk about really how to do that. So we've got 3 steps to inner peace and unwavering soul stability no matter what. This is the most important part really of the entire masterclass. 3 steps to your inner peace and unwavering soul stability, which is something that you need. It's just a life skill that you need. Really, if you forget about anything else that's going on, you need to be able to have that solid spiritual centre that you can rely on no matter what. So it's not about relying on other people, although you still can. It's not about relying on some external thing, because awakening takes all of that away so that you really strengthen your core. It's about having that within so that no matter what happens, you'll always be okay. So let's talk about how to do that no matter what. So step number 1, similar to what we were talking about in the mistakes. Step number 1 is you need to acknowledge the darkness. So that means when negativity comes up in life, instead of blocking it out, instead of cutting someone off, instead of hiding from it, you're going to acknowledge it, and you just acknowledge it by accepting that it's there, talking about it, thinking about it. I noticed that that's there, that negative thing, and that it makes me uncomfortable. You can talk about these things and get them out, but you must acknowledge it, because if you don't, what you're doing is you're then getting into the stage where you're blocking things, you're pushing them out of your awareness, and that's not fully awakened, that's eyes shut. So we want to make sure that when darkness and negativity comes around, even though it's upsetting, you're going to just say, I see that is bothering me. It's okay to do that. Doesn't mean you need to put all your focus on the negativity. And just as a note, just because you allow yourself to acknowledge the negative doesn't mean that you're going to manifest more negativity. It doesn't work like that. This is about balance, and balance means you acknowledge the positive and you also acknowledge the negative where appropriate. Okay, so we're going to acknowledge the darkness. Step number 1. So anything that comes up, you're going to say, yep, I see that there. I acknowledge that that's there. This is a problem. I'll need to find a way around that. You're going to talk about it. Step number 2 is admit the emotion. Okay, so when you acknowledge that darkness, when you acknowledge the negativity, it's going to create an emotional response in you that you must admit to yourself. So if you find that you're talking about something that should be bothering you, or something that's an annoyance even, and you talk about it and you notice that you're not really feeling anything, or someone says, gosh, that must be really tough, and you're like, nah, you know, when you're a little bit flippant about it, you're usually blocking emotion out, so watch out for that. But admitting the emotion is just really saying to yourself, this negative thing has happened, how do I feel about that? And just take a moment to tune into your centre. You can even close your eyes and say, okay, if I was feeling an emotion, what would it be? Maybe you'll be able to feel it straight away, but if I was feeling an emotion about this, what would it be? And sometimes the word will pop into your mind. Sometimes you'll get tension in the stomach or in the chest, or, you know, up around your head. You'll start to notice something, and you want to just keep focusing on it until you've really acknowledged it. So, you know, okay, so I think it's upset, right? Okay, you know, what's that upset about? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I really upset? I'm upset because I wish that hadn't happened, or I wish I could have gone and spent time with this person, or, you know, this problem has come up and it's really getting in the way. Talk about it, okay? Acknowledge how you feel. Give the emotion a name, okay? I feel angry. I feel annoyed. I feel sad. Make sure you give it a name so that you're really bringing it up into your awareness, okay? And then step number 3, it's simpler than it sounds. Step number 3, you're going to upgrade your energies to align with the new paradigm shift. Now that's probably the most important of all these steps, but they all work together, so you must do them together and you must do them in order, okay? You want to upgrade your energies to align with the new paradigm shift, and what that means is that your emotions, your energies don't understand what's going on right now. The earth is shifting, and the energy that we're resonating with daily has completely changed. And like I said before, for your energies, it's a bit like being dropped into an entirely new environment, and all of a sudden it's like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know how to integrate. I don't know how much to integrate. I don't know what this means. What we're really going to have to do is kind of upgrade their energies by reprogramming them so that they know how to make the shift. Now, just so you know, you don't have to reprogram them. This will happen. This shift will happen to you, but it'll take a lot longer, and it'll be a lot more drawn out, which can be a bit more dramatic and difficult to move through. You can upgrade them very quickly, and you can help your energies to adjust so that it's easier, so that you're moving into this new energy and all these changes in a way that is compatible with your system, with your body, with your mind and your soul. You can do that, and you can do that with energy healing, and that's the way that we do all of these things. Energy healing can make changes in minutes that will last you your entire life, because we're working on the soul level, and that's the level where these energies reside, and it's also the level where your awakening is happening. It's on the soul level where all this heaviness is. So what we're really doing is using energy healing to kind of give your energies a blueprint. It's like, okay, here's the new energies. It's like, here's the handbook. Here's what they do. Here's how to align with them, and let's align them right now. And we kind of do it for the energies with energy healing. So activating and integrating and making all the changes that need to be made so that it's not a long drawn out process for you to get used to it. It's just like, let's change it now, and your energies are realigned and off and away, and it all works really well. So the 3 steps: acknowledge the darkness, just say, okay, this negative thing is happening. Step 2, admit the emotion. That makes me feel angry, that makes me feel upset, whatever it is. And then step 3, upgrade your energies to align with a new paradigm shift automatically. And of course, we have a resource that will be able to help you to do that, which I will talk all about in just a minute, so that you've got all the information that you need. So we'll do a little recap, but like I said before, if you have any questions, we will be taking them for a time, and you'll see next to the video where you can submit any questions that you have about this masterclass, and I'll be answering them in a video just shortly. So we'll keep you posted on that. Okay, so a recap of what we've just learned. We have learned about the spiritual update, the great shift is happening, the earth is transforming and ascending. It's a very powerful time. We've learned how to maintain inner peace, even in chaotic times of change, how I did that. We've learned 7 lifelong benefits of spiritual inner peace and soul stability, which were feeling calmer, feeling more centered within, less unnecessary worrying and anxiety, being better able to listen to and be guided by your higher self in difficult times, the ability to flow with life's changes easily and gracefully, less stress held within the mind and body, accessing moments of contentment, gratitude and joy, even when things are tough, and being able to stay true to who you are without impulsive emotional reactions guiding your actions, your choices, your decisions. So lots of fantastic benefits to stepping into that energy. And then we've got paradigm shift mistakes that rob you of your inner equilibrium. So they were blocking out the darkness or the negativity, we covered that, denying your emotions and feelings, and not embracing the inevitable changes or aligning with them. So you need to really make sure you're adjusting your energies so that they can kind of snap into place quickly, rather than drawing it out and making it a really negative, long, challenging process. And the 3 steps to inner peace and unwavering soul stability, no matter what. Step 1 was, like I just mentioned, acknowledging the darkness, admitting the negative emotion, and upgrading your energies to align with the new paradigm shift. It's a very, very exciting time. Well, the good news is you don't need to go to energy healers, you don't need to train professionally, you don't need expensive repeated sessions. If you're ready to get started on inner peace right now, then you can check out our new energy healing meditation. It's called the Energetic Paradigm Alignment, and I've created it specifically for the purpose of the shift that we're going through just now, just to kind of reprogram everybody to align with those energies and to bring healing and activations that are really going to be essential for moving into that higher energy and mastering all the changes as things go. So it will help you to master spiritual equilibrium amidst chaotic planetary ascension, to radiate divine light and receive inner peace by gracefully embracing this new era of realignment. And we can get started in literally about 10 minutes time if you like. You won't find a healing product like this anywhere else. Our meditations, if you haven't done them before, they're a kind of hybrid between meditation and energy healing. So you've got the theta brainwave aspect of the energy healing, which takes you into a state of rest, recuperation and high spiritual connection. This is your meditations taking you into that theta brainwave. And then we've got the energy healing that will do all the activations, make the healing adjustments, do the clearing and all the other things that you need. And of course you can use it again and again and again, as many times as you like throughout awakening. Anytime you want to realign, reintegrate, do some clearing, it can do everything for you. And it's really important, I think, that people have access to these types of resources. And it is the equivalent of a specifically tailored energy healing session with me, because I work with a series of high vibrational spirit guides who are dedicated to helping us on the awakening pathway, and they will work with you specifically whenever you watch the recording. So it doesn't matter if it's 2 weeks from now, 2 years from now, they'll begin working with you in real time and making adjustments that are appropriate and compatible with you and your specific energies. So it's not one size fits all, it's very tailored. So the meditation, it's going to help you to release fear and uncertainty around the Earth's continuing changes. It's going to steady your energies for the shifts as we enter the new paradigm. It's going to help you to emanate a high vibrational white light so that you can really uplift those around you in your energy. It's going to adjust your energies to compatibly ascend alongside the heightening global frequencies. It's going to help you to feel calm, centered and safe even in times of turbulence. And it's going to open your heart to the new spiritual possibilities that this transformational shift can bring. It's really, really exciting. I'm really quite proud of this energy healing meditation, and I know that it's going to make huge shifts. So you'll be able to take a look below and see if it feels like a fit for you. And I hope that you've enjoyed this masterclass, and I hope that you are fully equipped with everything you need to move through these changes. Most important thing, stay calm. So thanks for watching. Check below and see if this feels like a fit for you, and see you guys again soon. Bye.